Welcome back everybody. So in the last lesson we started looking at ternary operators and we're going to leave it there for conditional logic for the time being. This lesson, and I'm really excited about it, we're going to start talking about lists. And if you're excited about me and you're enjoying it as much as I am, then please drop me a like or a subscribe and I'll keep making more of these videos. But anyway, back to it. So lists. Now you'll use lists all the time in Java, and what do I mean when I say a list? All I mean is a list of variables. So we've looked at strings, we've looked at integers, we've looked at doubles, but now we're going to look at a list of strings, a list of integers, and a list of doubles. It's really easy. There's a couple of concepts we're going to need to learn, and there's a couple of concepts I'm going to skim over, but I'll talk us through them all as we go along, and let's just get straight to it. So I'm going to start off with just removing the stuff from the last lesson because we don't need that anymore. And let's just start off with looking at how we declare a list to begin with. So I'm going to write the line first and then I'll talk us through it. So I want to say list, and this is going to be a list of integers, and we'll call it my integer list because we always have to give a variable a name. And we're going to set this to a new array list. And it's going red here because it doesn't know what a list is, so we just need to press Alt and Enter and choose import class, and then it will import that java.util.list. So I do that and you can see that's popped up there. So let's have a look at this line. So we use the word list to say we want a list, and then we say what the list is. So we're saying I want to declare a list of integers. I'm going to call it my integer list, and it's going to be a type of array list. Now I know this looks a little bit weird at the moment because we've got a list on this side and an array list on this side. Now I'm going to quickly talk about this, but this is going to be explained a lot more detail in the OOP lessons, so don't worry too much about this. But basically list is an interface, and interfaces can have lots of implementations. So you can see here we've got loads of different types of lists. And the one we're going to be using is this array list here. So that's all it is. It's a list of integers which is equal to an array list. So having an empty list isn't much good. Let's look at how we add something to the list. So to add something to a list, funny enough, there's a nice simple method we can use just called add. And there we go. If I type that, and I can put any integer I want in here. I can do the number 10. Let's add another one. Let's add 4. Cool, so now we've got a list which contains 2 integers. One thing to note, if I try and put the wrong thing in here, so if I try and put, a string version of 10, that's not going to work. Because this, let's have a look at the error. Required type is an integer and we've given it a string because we said our list here takes integers. If our list was to take strings, notice then this line is fine, but then this line is going to fail. So let's just stick with integers for the time being. And let's make that an integer again. Cool. Now let's print out the values of these things on a list. So we need to be able to get these things from the list. And it's important to note whenever you add something to an array list, the index at which it is in the list starts at 0. So this is going to be index 0. This is going to be index 1. And let's just add another one for fun. Let's add 22. I don't know why I couldn't think of a number then. And then this is going to be 2. So the 0 thing in the list, the first thing in the list, the second thing in the list. And we'll prove that now by printing them out. So to get something out of a list, you just use the name of the list, and then there's a method called get. And then this method takes the index of the thing you want. So if I wanted to get the first thing, which is going to be 0, this should print 10. Let's just try that. Cool. That prints 10. Let's check the second one. So we want this We want index number 1, which will be our second thing in the list, and let's just do the same for the third one. And run that. Cool, so now we get the things from our list, 10, 4 and 22. Perfect. Now, there's another useful method on the list, which I end up using quite a bit, and it's called contains. Sometimes you might want to loop through a list. So say you've got a list of 100 things and you're looking for a certain element. You might end up looping through the list and then using this contains method to find it. That's probably not the best example actually, but let's just see it working here. So if I do myIntegerList.contains, and let's put something we know isn't in there. So we know the value 33 isn't in here at all. And this contains method returns a boolean for us. So I'll call it isFound. So we're setting a boolean called isFound equal to myIntegerList.contains. And if I control hover over this method, or control click, sorry, we can see it returns a boolean. Perfect. So let's just check that works. So we should get false for this because we know 33 isn't in there. Cool, we get false. Let's set it to something that we know is in there. So number 4. Cool. And I'm going to leave it there with lists for today because we've learned how to add something to a list. We've learned how to check if something is inside a list. And we've also learned how to pull something out of the list by using this get command. So while this is already good and fun at the moment, the real fun part of lists starts when you start using loops. So imagine looping through all of the values in the list and then printing each one out, or all the real fun stuff happens with loops. So it'll either be the next lesson or the lesson after, I'm not quite sure yet, but we'll start talking about loops then, and we'll continue the fun. We'll probably continue using lists with our loops example just to make it extra clear. But I hope you've enjoyed it today. Please drop me a subscribe or a like if you haven't, and I'll see you ready for the next lesson. Thanks everyone, bye bye.